Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm Katie. I'm the general manager at ADAC, and we are excited to welcome all of you to Wellness and Design at ADAC today. Hope you're all feeling energized after that sound bath that you all had and ready to start the day. Something new to kick off our days that we're doing now at Wellness and Design. So good. So last year proved there was a ton of interest in this topic of wellness and design. So we're excited to continue this conversation again and just explore the conversations around how design can enhance well-being and joy in design in everyday life. So today's going to be all about engaging conversations and key takeaways and immersive experiences that you can then apply to your design going forward. So welcome, everyone. Before we get started, I do want to just remind everybody to grab this event guide. It's in your seats, but it has the full schedule for today, so you know where to go and what all the topics are that are coming up. We will be in the presentation room for most of our discussions today, but after this presentation, of course, we're going to be going up to Schumacher, and Dana will be doing her book signing there as well. So make sure you grab a copy of that event guide. On the event guide is all of our social media channel, or all of our social media for today. So that's going to be our hashtag, which is Wellness and Design at ADAC, and then our handle is at ADAC Atlanta. So have some fun with us on social media today, but most importantly, be sure to tag us and use that hashtag. And if you forget, it's right here on the event guide. I want to say a big thanks to Kravit, Stark, and New Growth Design for providing our furniture and accessories for today. And then I also want to thank our sponsors. That's Benjamin Moore Curry, Interior Design Society, IDS. They're starting a new chapter here in Atlanta. So Jenna's here, and I know everybody's going to want to learn more about that new organization for design. And then, of course, Luxe Interiors and Design and Schumacher. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Jennifer Boles, who's the senior editor at Luxe Interiors and Design.
Thank you, Katie. Welcome, everybody. I think this is going to be such a fun day. And I suspect that many of you are familiar with Dana and Tish's work, but nevertheless, I'm going to read a little bit about them. Dana Wolter is the founder and principal of Dana Wolter Interiors, a Birmingham, Alabama-based design studio known for creating refined, gracious homes that are as livable as they are elegant. Her work is rooted in a belief that interiors should support real life while offering a sense of calm and beauty. Dana's work reflects a deeply personal understanding of home as a restorative environment. Following her battle with cancer in 2022, her belief in the home as a place of healing, tranquility, and renewal became even more central to her practice. She designs spaces that feel nurturing and elegant in equal measure, homes that invite connection, reflection, and ease. Dana's projects have been featured in publications such as Traditional Home, Southern Living, Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles, The Wall Street Journal, and House and Home. She was named to Traditional Home's prestigious New Trad list in 2014 and was selected a finalist in 2017, 18, 19, and 21 for the coveted ADAC and Veranda Southeast Designer of the Year award. She is the author of The Elegance and Comfort of Home, written with our favorite Clinton Smith, and published by Gibbs Smith. The book showcases 8 residences that exemplify her approach to creating intimate, tailored spaces where families can gather and build lasting memories. Through her design work, Dana Wolter champions a vision of home that honors a well-lived life, blending beauty with meaning and comfort with enduring style. Tish Mills has been highly recognized by both the media and her industry peers. She has been awarded more than 30 Design Excellence Awards from the Georgia chapter of ASID, including one project winning 3 national ASID awards, and she's received 3 Georgia Design Awards and a LUXE Magazine Red Award. Tish's projects have been published throughout the United States in publications including Elle Decor, Traditional Home, Flower Magazine, Veranda, Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles, and Atlanta Home Magazine. And to that list, we'll add Luxe, since your work was recently featured in it. Tish has participated in many prestigious show houses, including Kips Bay Palm Beach, Flower Magazine Atlanta, Cashier's Designer Show House, and the Southeastern Show House and Gardens. Additionally, she remains an active member of ASID and the Design Leadership Network. Tish is also an active participant in speaking engagements and industry panels. Tish founded her firm in 1999 with a focus on residential design. Today, she has offices in Atlanta and Charleston, and her projects span nationally from the Southeast to California and internationally to China and Africa. Irrespective of geographical location, Tish remains committed to designing unparalleled homes with the perfect blend of the homeowner's aesthetic and that particular place. So ladies, welcome. I know we have a lot to discuss, so we're going to jump right in. So both of you have been in the design business for a number of years, and you've seen client priorities shift over time. And so when did wellness start to become a design consideration for you? And whichever one of you wants to lead.
Sure, I'll be happy to start. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I've been on the book tour, and this has really been one of the events that I've been really, really excited about because of my own journey with my own health a few years ago. So back in 2022, I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it was very fast, out of the blue. And my perspective about a lot of things changed at that time, but especially as far as not only about my health and wellness, which affects my design as well. I was at home a lot. My tagline for my book, as well as, really embodies the who we are, is the elegance and comfort of home. And I was living that, firsthand to see a difference of it. So as I was at home and healing and making that part of my journey, I've always had an interest in wellness and health. And when I was diagnosed, the ironic thing is I had 2 friends tell me, "You're my healthiest friend. How did this happen to you?" But it really made me dig in deeper to look at not only what I was eating and my environment, but really my home too. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have a lot of clients that are doing exercise rooms and saunas and, smoothie bars and second kitchens. But I think where my perspective has changed is that, yes, we want a beautiful home, we want a livable home, but maybe the things that you can't see behind, at first things that support your health and your wellness, but people might not, it's kind of not undercover, but it might be your mattress or your sheets or your air quality.
Things it's not as obvious as wallpaper.
Correct, yes.
Well, Tish, what about you? Because I know wellness has been something you've been interested in a long time. And in fact, I think I saw on your website, you studied feng shui. So, I mean, this is something that's been important to you for quite some time, right?
Since day one and before. One of the reasons that I truly gravitated towards residential and design is to really help people with cocooning their home. And what does that space mean to them? Wellness is a big part of that. It's called a lot of different things now than 26 years ago when I would first interview a client, because it is a two-way interview when you're talking to somebody, and look at their priorities and their needs and what they wanted to accomplish through whatever the project was. But 100% of the time, I would bring in questions around how do they care for themselves? What is their life like outside of the home? What is your stress level? What is your daily life, whether it be professional, traveling the world, executive, the hardest job in the world, the mom running carpool into every sporting event on the planet. I would really try to dig into their lives. And I would tell people right out of the gate, I'm not going to bill you like a lawyer. We're not going to do the every 6-minute thing. I need to truly know you. So if I'm talking to you about the birthday party you're throwing for your dog, what does that look like? All of those things help really understand who a person is, so then you can design the way that I approach it, mind, body, soul. So it's the environment, it's who they are, it's who they aspire to be, and it's creating a space that's truly safe and comfortable so that they can take the risk to step out of their comfort zone.
Right. So I'm interested to know how your focus on wellness has influenced your work. So for you, Tish, it's from the get-go, but for you, Dana, because of your personal experience, I'm sure then you became even more focused on it. So, I mean, how has this influenced your work specifically?
So for me, it's who I am. I have everything down to I've practiced yoga since the beginning of time. You know, I meditate every morning.
You've been doing sound baths?
I participated in part of a sound bath this morning and felt myself truly ground. I always consider myself to be a spiritual being first, but the way that it's evolved with clients, I'll give you a good analogy. I've been gluten-free for 25 years.
Wow.
Now, and I need to be for whatever reason, but it doesn't matter. 25 years ago, I would walk into a grocery store and have to read every label. And there would be little hidden things. And there were times I'd be like, I don't know what I can eat today. There's nothing. I remember the first morning after I learned how to be gluten-free, the only thing I could find in our house was potato chips. So I was like, I'm having potato chips for breakfast because there's no gluten in it. There's gluten in everything. Now you walk into the grocery store, there's like at Publix, there's the little green tag on everything. There's whole sections. It's an incredible industry. The same thing has happened in my design journey. I've always been very focused on health and well-being of every project that I touch. Whether whether it was something that was part of the program and specified or not, it's part of what I do. Now I walk in and all the buzzwords. I need my nervous system to be calm. Yes, you do. You've always needed that. So let's talk about, because of the stress in your life, what are the things in your house that we're going to do to ensure that you feel comfortable when you step out your door, or when you close your door, you can do that beautiful exhale, be grounded, and move through the rest of your day and evening. So
Wow.
that's the way it's evolved for me.
Curve, Tish.
Every now and then a blind squirrel.
Okay, so Dana, what about you? So when you became going through your illness like you did and just becoming very aware of the importance of wellness within the home, within home design,
Right.
how has that changed your work?
Well, you know, as I mentioned earlier, we, of course, are working on saunas and steam rooms and the things that you can visually see in a room, right? An exercise room. But we have a lengthy questionnaire that we start with each client because we want to get to know them and their life. The last thing I want is for someone to walk through a home that we've done and for someone to say, that looks like the house that Dana did down the street. We want it to be a reflection of our client and how they live. And so there is a lot of conversation. I never try to push my point of views, but you know, I will ask, well, do you want filtered water? Do you want a full water filtration system on your house? You know, we do have some of those kind of conversations now that I didn't have before. And I can educate a little bit. I don't know everything, but I've done a lot of things personally in my house, you know, with air quality, my water system, my mattress. And so anything that I can share, and people are hungry, people are sick, people are, you know, trying to learn. And so we're kind of all in this together. But, you know, I think wellness is a general term.
Right.
And as Tish said, it can encompass so much, right? Your well-being, your nervous system, you know, and for me, home, I can talk to anybody, but I'm really an introvert. That's really where I like to be. I like to be home. That's where I feel safe. That's where I like to rest. And so there are components of that as well.
So I mean, have you noticed in recent years, are your clients becoming more, well, Tish, you mentioned that. I mean, clients becoming savvier about it, specifically requesting things? And if so, what are they asking for now?
Well, I mean, I have one client, we're doing a beautiful home in southern Alabama, and it's on a family piece of property. And it's so nice because the grandparents are going to live in a house, and their son that's about to get married is going to be living in a house. And so it's really a beautiful thing. But we've added a steam shower. She has a sauna. He has an exercise room. There's a wet bar outside his exercise room, and he has a smoothie after he works out all the time. And so we've kind of made it like a little smoothie station. Just trying to think through those things. What can we do to enhance your lifestyle? Not my lifestyle, but your lifestyle. So there's definitely, the conversation is evolving.
So, it sounds like in terms of functionality, there's a lot you can do for your clients and introduce into their homes. But how does wellness tie into aesthetics? Because I mean, we're in the design world. Aesthetics, that's an important part of it. So how does wellness influence the look, the aesthetics of your work, or does it?
Sure, it does. It permeates through every part. So we do a lot of construction, probably at least 90% of our projects either start with a major renovation, ground up, whatever the thing is, no matter where it is. There's a number of considerations that you start right there. For example, lighting.
Right.
Think about this room and the light quality of it and how grounded you feel right now. And then you walk outside into the rain and how your mood changes a little bit, or how you feel a little bit differently. When we always use the same temperature lighting. However, now there are some amazing, amazing products. One of my favorites, which I'm just going to give an example, is Lutron has introduced Ketra, which is one of the most mind-blowing developments in lighting and probably ever since the invention of a light bulb. You can program a house down to the point of latitude and longitude for the exact location. So if you're in your house, the storm rolls in, automatically all of the recessed lights, all of the art lights, everything in the house will adjust to be the perfect temperature instead of then feeling jarring or glaring compared to what's happening outside. You can also program it to, as the day shifts, as the sun goes across your home, the lighting in different parts of your house, it can come down to even one recess can within a room, can adjust to then stay within perfect balance.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's amazing.
It's
because lighting is so important, and a lot of people don't realize
right.
that.
It affects your entire rhythm. So then I could go on for the next 3 hours about just that one product because of the impact. And the thing that's really great specifically about that is now they also offer a remodel version of it. So in a renovation, if it's not a ground up, you can still incorporate that type of thing. Same thing with the type of shades or the colors that we use within house. If you think about, look at the different colors that we have on. Because of the weather outside, I was dragging a little bit because of a long site meeting yesterday. When I got dressed, I naturally put on something that had more energy to it because then it would help me have more energy. But yet, the color of my top is still very soothing and grounding. So there's it pulled me up to be able to come.
Oh gosh, what does it say? I'm in dark colors.
Yeah, but you're in navy. Navy is a very regal color. And it also, if you think about blues, it slows your heart rate.
Well, good.
So when you're presenting your book in a little while, as far as your book signing, it was the perfect coloration to wear while you're giving a part of yourself through your signing. And then you're the star, you're running the show, right? So you have
Well,
on a
maybe yes, maybe
you
no.
have on this really beautiful, soothing, but it holds your color that you're wearing holds the room. But I think it's really interesting that you have on lavender shoes. If lavender is a very soothing color, so you're also offering soothing to everyone in the room while you're holding the room presenting.
I love that. I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's really within everything that we do aesthetically.
I love that perspective.
And it's how everything layers within a room. I always say when I'm designing something, something's got to be the star. If you throw everything into a room, then it's just a circus. But if, like, your shoes are the star right now, they're soothing, you know? So everything we do within our aesthetics. So it's probably too long of an answer.
No, that's really
Love it.
interesting. No, that's very interesting. So, I mean, what about you, Dana? If we were to look at photos of your work before your illness and after, what design changes or aesthetic changes would we see? Or, I mean, or maybe they're not. I don't
really know if you would see, I mean, an extreme before and after, because I've always been drawn to natural materials. I love God-made things, you know, natural stones, 100% linen, 100% wool, 100% cotton. I mean, I love natural materials. And so, and I love to layer them. I love something that is textural against something that's smooth, something that's shiny against something that's flat. And so I don't know if you would necessarily look and say, oh my gosh, you know, she's gone, what is it, 180?
Right,
Is that
yeah.
right, 180? But I think it's really more of the things you can't see would be where I've made a lot of different changes.
Like the type of paint you use.
The type of paint I
The
use.
type of carpet you would install.
Exactly. And I will say this, I have become more aware before, you know, I'm one of 5 children, and so I grew up in a very practical household, and I like nice things, I curate nice things, but I want a house to be functional and livable, right? And so there is a lot of conversation with our clients as far as what can we do to this room to make you walk in it and enjoy it and use it, and how can this house grow with your family? And I used to say, do we need to treat this fabric? You know, the makeup is this, but do we need to treat this fabric? And we still do some of that. I don't do as much of that. I don't mention it as much just because of the chemicals. You know, I try to use lines that I know maybe are not as coated as some, and rugs. I'm trying to become a little bit more aware and educate myself on some of those type of things that I might not even mention to my client. You know, it's, if we need something durable, you know, we'll of course use something, but I might look at something like leather, you know, or something. Anyway, I think it's more internally, unless they're bringing up the conversation or it's coming in the questionnaire, you know.
It even goes down, sorry,
No,
to
go ahead.
the whole home sense that people are installing in their HVAC system, and it's like kind of a cool, buzzy thing to do. It's actually not great for you. The chemical that's coming, and they tend to be, you know, the little plug-in things that you can plug in rooms?
Terrible. They're
Those
terrible.
are not good for you, and they're incredibly toxic for pets.
Wait a minute. The
Like the plug it, like the
You know, the little
glade,
thing you put in
you
the
know.
wall.
yeah,
any of
like a
that.
Nest plug.
Yeah,
I don't need to be using my Nest plugins.
They're not, the chemical is not great the way that it interacts, and it again is very toxic for pets. And then think of people with little kids. There's a lot of times that just gently that I might suggest, well, let's look at maybe, you know, whatever. I'll just be like, in this one room, if you're having people, let's do a candle, or not being like, hey, you know what, you're toxic to your pet. You don't say that.
Right.
But there's just little things
You
that,
nudge them in the right direction.
yeah.
I think for me, you know, I can't sit there and say, you know, why did I get sick at that time? And especially because I thought I was healthy, right? you know, but I look back and I definitely have come a long way since then, just in my knowledge and education. And I don't think it's one thing, but I think we're exposed to so much every day that I feel like, you know, my cup got a little full and my body couldn't process. And so, you know, and your home is one part of wellness, right? I mean, it's one factor, but if you can make little changes here and there that maybe kind of stack up over time, that's kind of my perspective now.
So what are those changes for those of us who maybe don't know a lot about, you know, what kind of materials we should be using? I mean, give us a primer on this.
Doing. So let me preface this because saying that I do not know everything. I am learning as I go, and I'm not completely out of the woods. So I don't want anybody to think, oh gosh, she got sick again. You know, it's something that I will always have to just be aware of with my health. But I juice every day or many, many days a week just to flood my body with nutrition as much as I can. I try not to drink out of plastic. You know, glass water bottles you can buy on Amazon if you're filling them up. I mentioned a home water system and, you know, just trying to get some of the chemicals out that way. This is interesting. Before I got sick, I had a reverse osmosis on my sink faucets. And I drank a ton of water and I was always thirsty. And I was working with a doctor after the fact and telling her that. And she was like, well, it removes all the minerals. I never knew that. So that's a good thing to know. You have to, if you have a reverse osmosis, you have to make sure you're adding the trace minerals back because we do need those. I have a sauna in my house, and my husband, who is not healthy at all, he uses that thing more than anybody, which makes me laugh. It's a two-person, we sit there like this, you know, so it's, and so fresh air, I try to get outside every day, fresh air, my mattress, just, you know, a lot of the cooling toppers on mattresses, it's polyurethane, so you're sleeping on polyurethane. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, and just little things that I've tried to change and make a difference.
So, Tish, I mean, in terms of the conventional design tools of the trade, so fabrics, you know, flooring materials, whatever. I mean, what should we be gravitating to if we want to have a healthy home?
So Dana touched on natural fibers. I'm a big proponent of cotton, wool. Yes, linen. However, I also have PTSD from linen because we are in the South and there is humidity and it does grow. So I'm constantly telling clients that on one house that the drapery, I think, in several of the rooms dropped, I don't know, it's probably like 28 feet. Well, it grew like 10 inches. Well, of course it's going to grow. It's the summer.
Right.
So can we all just be patient for a little while, give it? It's much like woodwork. You know, when you first move in a home and it expands and contracts and expands and contracts for a couple seasons and you see cracks and then it relaxes. Wait until the drapery stabilizes. And once it decides what length it wants to be, then it's hemmed again.
Oh, right.
And that's something that I'll warn someone. You're going to have a floor show for a while, but once it stabilizes, we'll take care of it. In kitchens, I really try to persuade people to put wood instead of stone, thinking long-term on your back, hips, knees, and feet, to stones harder on your joints. And for people that truly cook,
Right.
wood is just a little bit more forgiving to your body over time. Things like everybody loves a marble bathroom.
Right.
Well, there's something about the smoothness of a polished stone that's incredibly soothing. It's obviously easy to clean, all of that. I always tell people, don't put obviously the harsh on it because you're also going to take the finish off of it. But it's also, it's incredibly soothing to have around you. You know, the worry stones that you rub, there's a reason why they're smooth and they continue to get smoother. When we all travel around the world, when you go to whatever, Italy, and you go into a hotel that's 100 years old, and the marble is all etched
Right.
and stained and has had a life. And like the bowl in, where is it, in Milan, you know, that you do your heel on and it's got the little divot in it.
Right. Uh-huh.
That's the story.
Mm-hmm.
But then people in their homes freak out if their marble has gotten etched. I'm like, well, that was a great party. Tell me what happened. Like, it's okay that your house has a life and it continues to evolve and become whatever it wants to be.
Right.
So I try to tell people or I don't try to, I just flat out tell people, if you love marble, let marble be what it is. Let it have the story. I'm also a huge fan of quartzite, which doesn't tend to do that as much, but it has a similar soothing, really great grounding feel to it because of coming out of the earth.
Right.
There's such a wide range of natural products. I mean, and even in like bathrooms, whatever, I love to mix the metals. We're not creating a granimal. We're not putting a giraffe with a giraffe for people that are old enough to know what that is. Like, let it have its own story. So by mixing different things, and yes, your unlacquered brass is going to darken. You can clean it, but guess what's going to happen again? It's going to darken.
Yep.
Your polished nickel is going to get water spots. Okay, that's part of having a life to it. You can seal it, but why?
Right.
It's like, you know, putting a bird in a cage. Let it be what it wants to be.
So we know that wellness it's holistic. It's about body, mind, and soul. We've talked a lot about body and physical wellness and materials that are, you know, not toxic. But how do you address mental and emotional well-being through your work? Because it seems like to someone who's not a designer, that's a little bit trickier. Or maybe not, I don't know.
I do it a lot through color, through the lighting that I use, and the balance between task and ambient, you know, and all the different levels and how things play through the day, and the different spaces that people want within a house. It's really fascinating that for so long, since we've been designing for so long, there was this huge trend to big open spaces. And some of my images that are shown are big open spaces, which is great, but especially after 2020, people wanted to start compartmentalizing again. They needed some separation. They needed a place to go and make a phone call. They needed a place to read. They needed a place to exercise at home. I mean, I agree. I do a lot of full home spas with everything that you could imagine in a health club that we're now doing in a house, which I absolutely love. And then that great connection to inside, outside. So that's been one of the bigs.
What about you, Dana?
As far as just
I guess, because I think something that can be said about both of you and your work is that there is, when you look at it, it's very soothing, it's calming. And so I would think that that is the kind of thing if you're stressed out or whatever, just to come and, you know. And so how do you achieve that? Is it color or materials or?
It's so interesting because I normally do not gravitate to color. And I can certainly, you know, create a house, design a house that has it, but I gravitate more towards serene, soothing spaces. I don't know why, but that's kind of how, but I find that a lot of times in my work is some of the smaller spaces, I'll make them more dark and moody. We do a lot of new builds and renovation too, and you know, I'm always looking at the light, the natural light. Where is it coming in? How does it affect the room? Do we need to add a window or two? You know, there's a lot of conversation as far as, you know, how the room is going to play out and what it's going to, what it leads to, I guess, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And beyond to to the more of the soul and
Mhm.
side that you were asking
Mhm.
about, I spend a lot of time on a site. And a
Mhm.
lot of times I'll just go by myself. And no matter where it is in the country. And you have to really, one of the ways that I jump off in design is to connect to the space. That means walking the property,
Right.
looking at the interesting mushroom that you've never seen before because you're in a completely different state, and how that plays against whatever. The grass is next to it. Week before last, I think it was week before last, I don't even know, I think it was then, I was at a site in Colorado. We're talking in the car while we're being driven up to the site. I took, I don't know, probably 100 photographs from the car as we're driving because I was watching the sky to the mountains. What's happening when the snow, you can see just the bits of it against the rock, and then the water as it's going through the stream, and how even the pavement versus the dirt next to it.
Right.
Everything about how nature in that spot. And then once we walked into the construction site, which was, it's in framing, so there's nothing there yet, I could start to really visualize what does the inside want to become to connect to everything around it, to the outside. And it's one of the ways that there's real harmony of a home,
Right.
inside, outside, and there's nothing too jarring.
Wow.
Even when I'm designing with very, very bold color, which I purposely put in one image that's very bold, everything around it outside, she specifically wanted very bold elements through sculpture and landscaping and all. So it was a very natural
Right.
connection inside outside. But that's one of the ways to help with the mind body part of the design.
And it sounds like too, because you have such wealth of design experience too, that a lot of it is it's experience, it's intuitive. You've been doing this. I mean, you have a sense of, if your client comes to you and says, okay, you know, I've been ill, or gone through a divorce, I need a place. I want my home to be a refuge, to be a place where things, you know, where I can just calm down. And so
We have a client that we just finished a property for, and they have a special needs son. Well, you can imagine all that home needs to be for them. I mean, not only are there 4 children, and a live-in nanny, but a special needs child, along with, you know, just being a mom and everyday life. And so I would say a lot of conversation comes from our clients. And again, that questionnaire, which sounds so basic, but we're asking, you know, what do you want to be able to say about your house? Give us some adjectives. What colors are you drawn to? What colors do you dislike? What patterns do you like? So we really try to get to know them so the house can support them in everyday life.
A lot of what we learn from clients and our jumping off point for design and creating a space, our job is to create something just outside their comfort zone, the place they want to go, but they didn't want to go on their own.
Right.
But don't you feel like it's not only what they say, but it's what they don't say? It's what's between the lines and what they're almost there to say, and they just really, so it's about listening at a level that we all would aspire our children to. But truly listen, watch body language. Because there's times that someone's saying something because they think it's what they're supposed to say, but then their body language is going, please don't do that. This is not what I want. And it's fascinating to, when you take all of that and put it together, how you can truly bring the solutions and ideas for the experience that they really want. Sorry about that.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, not at all.
And I guess that's one of the things that's nice about getting older, right? I mean, maybe I have a little more wisdom than I did over 20 years ago when I started my business. And I've had children, and I've watched, you know, how your house needs to work and support you as your family grows and continues to grow with in-laws and grandchildren and all of that. So I think experience too helps.
Well, I mean, I would think that to your point, your clients with a special needs child, or if you have a client with mobility issues or whatever, I mean, do you find that given that your clients may have so many different needs, do you have to do a lot of homework while you're figuring out your design scheme and what you're going to do?
Well, we're trained,
Mm-hmm.
and part of being a professional designer is we continue to have CEUs to continue. And I know a lot of what I go to um, is to learn what's coming and what are the, what are the latest codes and rules, and just so we have them hip pocket. There's a project that I did here in Atlanta that he was the head of, and I think it was infectious disease for all of Emory, and her job is to go around the country and pop inspect labs for research. Okay, I know nothing about either of those things,
Right.
as I know nothing about most of what my clients do. I'm like, really? How do you do taxes? No kidding. But their one thing was they were older. We went to age in place, but we do not want an ADA home. We want it ADA friendly. We want parts of the house that will be ADA or very easily converted, but we want to stay here. We planned it down to the nth degree of if they ever needed a caregiver, how would that work? How would the interaction work? If there's ever emergency vehicles that need to come and there is a power outage, how would we be sure they could see the house numbers? I mean, it was such a level of detail, but when you walk in the house, you'd never know any of that existed.
Wow.
And that's a great example of just a design done well. You know, I mean, that is, thank goodness they hired a good designer.
It was very interesting, but it also took an amazing amount of collaboration. It's not just us. It's the other professionals that we bring in. It's collaborating really well with the architect. It's making sure that the builder is using whatever the materials are that not beyond even what the level of what we specify, so that if a space needs to be modified later, we know that the framing is already in place for it, or the XYZ is whatever. It was a really, really fascinating learning experience, but at the same time, it was definitely a big team of people that made sure that that could happen.
Wow.
I mean, that was one of the things with my client that has the special needs son. She said, I don't want to walk in my house and make it look like a hospital, right? I mean, and he'll live with them for the rest of their life. And so, there's an ensuite that's between his room and the nannies, and the bathroom, there's a changing table. He's 13 years old, right? Well, he's just going to continue to grow and get bigger. And so there was a lot of planning as far as, okay, where are his wipes going to go? Where's the trash? What can we hide where we can? The right height to move him. I mean, there was a lot that went on behind the scenes, not to mention, making sure that you can, wheel a wheelchair around where you need to go. But what a rewarding job. That's one that we don't normally do. And of course, there were some challenges and things that we had to brush up on because we just do typical, residential for the most part. But it was very rewarding from that to, as we were taking her through for the reveal, and she's crying. I mean, just thinking about because they live in Chicago, and she's like, we have all these stairs, and to be able to wheel him, she was like, you don't realize what a big deal that is to be able to wheel him into the house and go straight in an elevator and go up if we need to without having to figure out how to get him up the stairs or whatever. So, I mean, that's really what it's about, right?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Some of the things we do end up being humorous. There's a ground up that we did a few years ago. And one of the considerations, the couple was very, very close, very, very together all the time. But he snores. And so she was like, there are nights I need to sleep. And I'm like, okay, the things we learn, here we go. There was a door that no one knew was there. There was a whole separate space that's attached to their bedroom for nights that he was snoring, so
She
could
could go in there? Oh, I
no,
love
she
that.
would just smack him.
Oh, and
so
make him
he
go?
could just go and she could keep sleeping, but they were still in the same space with just a door on the nights that, I mean, that's just funny. And, you know, when people would come and walk the house, I mean, at first, it was just a door to a closet, you know, an additional primary closet, but then it became, that's the snore room. And it become a big family joke with them. And so sometimes it's kind of humorous, the things we get to do. That
Well,
it's wellness, though, because
yeah, absolutely.
research shows 9 hours, and your best time to go to sleep is before 10 o'clock at night, and to wake up around 7 is what research shows. People say, I only need, but the thing that you're missing is whoever doesn't, is part of how your body resets in the rhythm of the 24 hours. There's a complete wash that's done of your brain. If you're not asleep during those hours when you're supposed to be asleep, you've missed it for the day. And you know how not only the next day, but the following day,
That's me every
you
day,
feel a
so.
little off. And then once you go on vacation, you feel really well rested. Well, that's just a commitment to, you know, there's like simple things, sleep. It's okay. No one's a hero by not sleeping. Martha Stewart, 4 hours, no.
Well, I know we could go on and on about this because it really is really fascinating, but I'd love to open it up to questions if anybody has any. This is all very casual, so please, anything you have for a panelist.
And we have a microphone because we are recording, so we want to pick up your question. So we'll come to you. Just raise your hand.
Perfect.
Talking about the water filtration system and the minerals coming out, how did you solve that and what do you do for that? And what do you recommend? Because I know there's the reverse osmosis, and I'd also heard that there's a system that I think it's 5 gallons of water that gets wasted for every filtered gallon, and there has to be a way to get the water out. That's very wasteful for the whole house.
So I'll tell you what I've done. And to me, water is a very complex thing. I never knew that until I started kind of researching it. So I did a whole system water filtration system, Aquox. It takes, the chlorine out. The fluoride is still there, but it keeps the minerals there. And so that's what I put on my entire home. And then I also try to drink alkaline water. And so I don't even know if I answered your question as far as, what all I do.
So the interesting thing is in the city of Atlanta, our water actually tests well. So when you go to a restaurant and they're like bottle or tap, because you actually need it. Think about how after the pandemic, everybody was getting sick. Mm-hmm. It's because when everyone wore masks for so long, our immune systems became depressed. Like they weren't able to continue to rejuvenate, and it's much like the sleep and your body resetting. Here, tap water is absolutely fine because we do need the minerals that are in it. There are supplements that you can take and
trace minerals.
Mm-hmm. You can pour them in. But it's fine. Tap water gets a bad rap. Another place that actually has really great tap water is New York, which you wouldn't think, but when you're in the city, just drink it. It's okay. In our studio, we don't use plastic or any of that. We have the bottles from Amazon. We keep them in our little fridge. We have glasses, so when clients or somebody come, we pour it, and then we just go to our kitchen, refill them, and put them back in our fridge.
I mix my water a lot, meaning that I'll drink some of the tap water that I have, with my filtered system, because it still has the minerals. I have the glass jugs from Whole Foods, and I'll go and get the alkaline water. Mm-hmm. If I'm drinking water that is purified, I definitely add the minerals to it, and maybe a little bit of really good salt, like just a little bit. But our bodies do need it, just as Tish said. So I feel like there is a lot about water still for me to learn.
Well, the other thing about water is a lot of people actually drink too much water. Your body, I mean, your doctor will tell you how much your particular body needs, but there's the hard and fast rule, whatever, 8 glasses, half a gallon, whatever, you read all these different things, and people are like, I mean, I drink water, I drink a lot of water, okay, but then you have to compensate for it, because even if you're drinking really good water, you're still washing out too much. Because at the same time, everybody's so healthy, watching their diet, watching the fat intake, watching the carbs, watching. We watch all the watch. But then everything goes, and what are we left with? So it's all about balance. One of the things that I think is hilarious that my acupuncturist says is there's 21 meals in a day. 21 meals in a week. If you have 3 cheat meals, it's still an A. Relax a little. And it's the same thing. Like personally, I don't drink soda, but I just don't, I've never liked it, and plus I just don't like the chemicals. But then how much bubbly water can you drink? That's not as great either, to drink a ton of LaCroix. So it's just all about finding the right balance.
Okay, we have a question over here.
I heard you mention something about the type of paint that you use. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's low VOC is what, there's several, Benjamin Moore has a great line that it doesn't put off the chemicals into the air. It's much more pure. So it's a very, very, very healthy paint. We try to use it whenever and wherever people will let us. So that just look for low VOC, low or no. There's now also no VOC, which is great.
And I can't remember who I was talking with last week, but someone was telling me that, I think it's Sherwin-Williams, is starting to experiment with using corn in their paint to not be as toxic. And so I definitely think there's a buzz in the industry, and we're going to start seeing, I hope, even more improvements in many different ways.
Yeah, that's true. And also with beyond paint, a number of the plumbing products coming and by the way, I also have a sauna. I use my infrared sauna. I've done it for, 20 years. I've always been.
I love it.
Fantastic. The flip side of that is you cannot push me in a cold plunge. But there's this whole home system that's being developed. I went to a talk recently, and Kohler has this amazing cold plunge, splash, all this. I was like, I gotta get information on this because it's the kind of thing that people will really want. I'm not educated on it yet, but I was very impressed with everything that I heard about it at this one ASID talk. But it's going well beyond. Yes, paint, the plumbing products, there's a lot of conversation with the type of plumbing that comes into the house, because everybody says, yes, copper. But then over time, copper gets buildup. So then you get bacteria and such coming in. So then parts of the country like California has gone to PEX. But PEX is plastic. So then there's another part of the population, it's like, the water can't go through plastic to go to your shower. So it's going to be fascinating to see where some of that really nets out, to see what's really right. So it's evolving.
True. That's really true.
Okay, we have another question right here.
Good morning, ladies. So my name is Erin Blake. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist, and your story resonated with me. And we focus on a lot of sensory elements. So I am now pivoting into the interior design with a niche in sensory and wellness interior design. So I'm just trying to see what recommendations or any certifications that, like you were saying, like the air filtration or the lighting, what certifications did you all get for those type of resources or elements in the homes, or do you have any recommendations or any certifications?
Sure. There's a lot of, there are some amazing CEUs on neurodivergent design right now, which is what you're talking about with sensory. In fact, specifically ASID has whole courses that are fascinating on it. There's an event coming up that's for the chapter. As a side note, my husband is in the same businesses that I am, and he just did 2 new buildings for the Shepherd Center. Well, there's a tour coming up of their technology floor that when I went to the opening, I was like, holy cow. The groundbreaking work that they are doing, not only on brain and spine, but different illnesses and neurodivergent design and what's needed for sensory, whether it be the textural. Think about a child with neurodivergence, which I apparently cannot say that word this morning. You take them to the beach and they don't want to put their feet in the sand. Don't touch the sand. Like it just gets the texture of it just it's too much. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Or there's certain types of lighting or a flashing. Even taking photographs with a flash on can cause flares. But I would definitely check within if you are ASID or if you join, I would check within the National Education tab. There are some phenomenal courses that they offer. Some are free, some you sign up for and it's X amount, but the research is fascinating. And what's helping to keep calmness and keep well-being for a longer period, it's just going to be exponential over the next 10 years. So I don't know if that was helpful or not, but that's what I would say.
All right, well, that is great. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, Tish, and Dana, and LUXE, our friends at LUXE. This was wonderful.